He's my neighbor.
Gatodo.
Okay. No, Gatodo. Omosh, say Gatodo.
So if Uhuru is your neighbor, that makes you a dynasty. Of those rare species that survived,
very rare
that survived the Hasura narrative in Mount Kenya, which swept like a thunderclap.
Get it right.
Yeah,
Hasura.
Thank you. Yeah, it swept across Mount Kenya like a thunderclap, and you won your county assembly seat on a fast-fading Jubilee party in a UDA stronghold. Please tell us what kept you outside picking the easy option and popular option of UDA, or what was not appealing about the Hustla narrative that made you stick with the good old Jubilee party?
Right. First of all, as you'll have noticed, I'm not one to do the simple things. I'm here in your show to begin with, which I know will get a lot of stick because, like, how dare you go and talk about
and reveal our secrets,
benchmarking.
And you are sent to do one job and one job only.
Exactly.
And you are one guy.
And on top of that, receive all these arrows.
Yes.
So how did you enter from Philadelphia ukaenda DC alafu ukaenda kwa show na ukaingia kwa show na wewe ni mtu mmoja na unafaa kufanya kazi moja?
And you revealed our secrets.
He probably rented a Porsche Cayenne. I will start a rumor.
And apparently, as you guys are saying, I travel business class, so I don't know.
No, we were asking a question.
Anyway,
We were asking a question.
I heard it was first class.
Because me have met politicians in business class, and I wasn't even traveling business class. Me, I was
But
on
what
my way.
you were passing through business class?
Me, I was passing through to go to a
And you left them there.
Alikuwa ameshaka.
Alikuwa shaka.
Wewe ulikuwa unaenda kule markiti.
Mimi nilikuwa naenda huko kwingine.
But as we have established today, there's very clear demarcation of the different types of politicians we have in Kenya.
Okay.
And the MCA is the person who gets a lot of queries and requests from people, but not a salary to match, right? Okay. Now, for me, I've never been one, and to answer your question, to do the easy thing.
Okay.
I didn't get to feel the narrative of bottom up.
Bottom up?
Yes.
Bottom up. How did you miss out on that?
First of all, you know,
you remember Musalia Mudavadi talking about the bottle, then he said the bottle. Hold on.
Yes, exactly.
Let me show guys. Hold on. When Musalia did this is the bottom.
Yes.
Then it is up. Yes. Remember that press conference?
I remember
what is his role? What is his role right now?
I mean, right now
he's the one who's flipping the
principal
bottle.
cabinet secretary.
He's the one who's flipping the bottle.
And his wife has her own office with a budget.
Office of the First Lady Prime Cabinet Secretary.
With a budget.
It's a long title.
With a budget. Nanyi MCAs have a budget.
Okay.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. But tell us, like how, because at that time, I mean, of course, like us guys were looking from outside, we were on the other side of the Hustler narrative.
Yeah.
We never saw it, but you were in the thick of it. You were pale katikati.
Yeah.
Where everybody was wearing yellow attire.
Yes.
How did you miss out on that? Or what was not appealing about that narrative?
Well, first of all,
at the time,
everybody who eventually went onto the Hustler narrative was originally from Jubilee, right? So it was people jumping one by one.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not what I didn't like so much as staying put, because I didn't see at the time a reason to move. So I had to go and tell my constituents when I was campaigning that, first of all, just listen to me first before you look at the party.
Yeah.
And if you feel that's okay, we move.
Yeah.
If not, then let it be. But and numerous occasions people urged me to jump ship, and I lost many friends. By the way, it's like, hey, my friend, if you're not,
so are they your friends now that will in your office now?
They came back.
That will now kuna padiem na ROI inaweza ingia.
How are you a party? Padiem na ROI, but yes, I never, and I think that's one thing they couldn't understand why. In fact, I remember when we were handing over our documentation for nomination, where you have to bring your party signed certificate so that IEBC can receive it. Most people still believed at the very last minute I'll go with UDA.
Yeah.
I think at the time we had maybe about 10 aspirants in for my seat at the time. When word caught on that I'm not moving from Jubilee to UDA, that number tripled to 30.
Because now they knew they had a chance without
Now
you
they
on the
knew they
UDA.
had a
wako ndani
Yes.
kama
So you are the clear front runner.
I think I was from the
Okay.
very beginning. So
Okay.
everybody thought, no, if he's Jubilee, he doesn't
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah.
we have a shot.
Yeah.
But I stuck there and I sold the narrative as strongly as I could that it's about the individual and not the party. That's number one. Number two,
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of pitting the haves and the have-nots. Like, Kenya is a capitalist country, you have to remember.
Yeah.
So when you decide you're going to bash the people who are who create jobs and call them dynasties, dynasty at the time was being targeted to a specific few people, right? I think we know who they are. Like dynasties, niao wako hapo.
Yeah.
But if you go into the village and you have your farm, you
Yeah.
have your pickup, you have your employees
Yeah.
who walk home,
Yeah.
but you have your car and your truck.
You're a dynasty.
You're a dynasty.
Wow.
Now, that was an issue for me because, hang on, this is not it. In fact, I'm struggling just like anybody else to pay salaries. I'm struggling to keep my farm moving. How is it that I've become dynasty? So that was a narrative which was not sitting well with me. And so I told my people, look, if that's a deal breaker, so be it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here with the village with you. But I'm not changing because even when, God willing, you give me the seat, I'm still not going to change. I'm still going to stick by the policies that I believe in, and I'll speak up. And mimi siuzi wangu woga, so I'll still, be your mtetezi as far as issues are concerned.
Yeah.
And I've stood by that. And what happens in 2027, God knows. But I don't think I'll change even beyond that.
Okay.
So what made you take the leap of faith from whatever you were doing before to do this? Or should I ask, what were you doing that made you take the leap of faith?
So first of all, in 2017 I ran.
Okay.
For the same seat. I didn't get the seat at nomination.
Okay.
I was very heavily
Still on a Jubilee ticket.
on a Jubilee ticket. In fact, I was very heavily involved in the presidential campaigns at the time. Even when I didn't get it, remember there was this rerun, and we were really campaigning heavily for the Uhuruto campaign. I believed in Uhuru
And
as
Ruto.
president. And Ruto at the time as one unit.
Okay.
By the way, Uhuru comes from my constituency,
Okay.
my ward.
Okay.
Watu wa Gatudu.
In fact, the Philadelphia
specific
president.
Gatodo. Where?
Yes,
Omosh.
he is my neighbor.
Gatodo.
No, no.
Yes.
Gatodo. Omosh. Say Gatodo.
Gatodo.
Not the Gat.
So if
Gatodo.
so if Uhuru is your neighbor, that makes you a dynasty.
But he is. He just said he has a pickup, he has a truck, he has employees, and he has a farm.
I said
Oh, you
he
have a
has-
farm.
He has
I
a
have a
farm,
farm and a pickup.
he has a farm,
employees.
a
I have
pickup,
employees. Yes.
a
So
truck.
you are one of those who was labeled as a dynasty.
I don't think I was
Yes.
labeled a dynasty because I was always with the people. That's one thing I can tell you.
Okay.
It
tunakaa
was
chini,
insinuated.
tunakunywa chai.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't think I was ever labeled a dynasty. In fact, the issue of dynasty, if anything, we were sitting with them and thinking, who are these dynasties? I kept asking, who are they? Apart from Uhuru and Rao and those people. Who are these other dynasties are we complaining about? Because, you can't reverse the clock and now say, okay, now from now, Uhuru is not going to be. But who else do you have a problem with when you're talking about dynasty? And that answer was always very vague.
Okay.
The issue is people were, at the time, tired with this marriage of Jubilee and ODM. That's all.
Okay.
It was not a palatable thing.
No.
Let us
agree on one thing. I think personally was that the handshake was used to now for lack of a better word, to demonize. And the fact that Rao shook hands for the sake of peace, the vision was here instead of seeing the long game. So I think people use that and said, you know what, what wawili ni mahasla, ni madynasty, wametoka sijui what. Mimi nimeuza kuku, nimeanza kuuza kuku nikiwa mchanga. Hao wengine ni and that narrative stuck.
Okay.
It was sold very well.
Yeah.
It was sold very well.
Well, if he said enough times,
Yeah,
it sounds
stuck.
like it's true.
But in itself, it wasn't enough to bring this crashing wave. Why? Because
But
the
it
like
wasn't.
of us,
Yeah.
who went and got a nominee certificate from Jubilee.
Yes.
Remember, that certificate was tantamount, it was representing Azimio,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Blue.
Mhm.
As we are a red dove and everything. Soon as you get that Jubilee thing, you become Azimio. Azimio is Raila.
Yeah.
So you go back to the ground and people ask you, so at what point are we talking ODM here? Surely. Because that's it. You see Azimio, you see, and there was no conversation. Mount Kenya people weren't asked about this marriage. It was a forced marriage as the narrative goes. So that was a very, and so this thing of dynasties and a forced marriage.
Let me ask another simple question. When there was a marriage back in the previous election with Ruto
Yes.
in 2013, were people in Mashinani asked, or was this also just announced?
Presented.
That was consensual.
They agreed to sleep together.
That was a marriage of two people coming together, communities, and saying, look, what do you think? And you remember.
So, okay. This is where this is where I think Mount Kenya,
yes,
you know, like, and here I'm going to talk to Mount Kenya because we're talking
Please
politics right now. I think this is where I think Mount Kenya has a fundamental issue that maybe they do not want to acknowledge, because I really do not see a major difference between how the marriage between Raila and Uhuru happened, and the marriage between Uhuru and Ruto happened in 2000. And the reason why I say this is because us over here, we are people who follow, you know, like this politics, you know, also play by play. And I'll tell you, you know, like before Ruto got into that marriage with Uhuru, there was talks about him, you know, like going back to Raila and everything. So it was a similar surprise.
yes,
It was a similar surprise to the. I mean, of course, there was the ICC looming
yes,
at that particular time.
That was
yes.
But even with ICC looming, these two political sides had not necessarily, you know, like even like talking from the ground perspective, you know, like you are not seeing, you know, like Kikuyus and Kalenjins, you know, like whining and dining together. And
No, absolutely not.
It wasn't happening. So that's why I'm saying, you know, like these two events, very similar, but there was so much with this first one. We're like, okay, the leaders have said this, what hatukubali too. But then in this other one, you know, it was kind of like something sacrilegious. You know, like how dare you tell us that a Luo
the
is
difference
gonna
is
become
this.
a president?